To be completely honest with you, I wasn't listening to a thing you just said. Let's go.
My leg looks like Picasso. see, God damn it. Have you?
I think you know the answer.
You. Oh my God. This man, he needs to be studied in a lab.
I can explain everything.
No, he can't.
I can explain.
There is no shot.
The Lakers.
I'm not going to let you choose the Lakers.
Damn
Pick
it.
something else. We made such a mess. I am a casual.
We are mega casuals. Hi. Yeah. So it's been 2 weeks. We can explain. I can explain. Zach's not here today, obviously. Well, for one, it's been really slow in the world of the NFL, and I'm of the opinion where it's okay to just not talk if you don't have to, and sometimes it's not the best thing to just force a product when you don't have to. It's been slow. Like, yeah, the Stephon Diggs stuff happened, but that you can't talk about that for 40 minutes. I'm not going to make Zach hop onto a Discord call to talk about that for 10 minutes, and that's the episode, And also, I've been migrating over to a new job right now, so it's just been kind of like chaos. I went back to Utah, and obviously you guys knew that. So there's just been a lot going on. So we took a week off, and then we also just trying to get adjusted and everything. So fingers crossed we'll be back next week. It was just, we're not trying to force anything. And so, hi, it's just you and me today. No Zach. No, nothing against Zach. Don't worry. But we're going to do an NBA episode. So we're going to do a basketball episode because we're also going to talk WNBA and the women's bracket from the college tournament and stuff like that. So, and Zach, he's said multiple times, NBA in his thing. So, yeah. And here's the thing. I know I talk a lot of only football on this podcast. We've had the other NBA episode a couple weeks ago, well, a couple months ago at this point. But I do follow the NBA. I do. I don't just follow the NFL. I follow the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, and the NHL. Those are my 4 main leagues. So, and 3 out of the 4 teams are in Pittsburgh. So the only one that isn't is the NBA team, because obviously Pittsburgh doesn't have an NBA team. But so I'm going to be giving you guys my awards because we're getting so close at this point to the postseason. It's like the Rockets were eliminated today from playoff contention. So obviously we film this on Sundays. They go up on Mondays. So yesterday for you guys, today for me. The Rockets were eliminated, so we're really getting close to the postseason. So I want to give my NBA award. It's not really predictions. It's like my NBA awards in my mind, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so here are the awards. We got MVP, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, and Most Improved Player. I'm not going to do Coach of the Year. I'm not going to do Clutch Player of the Year, mainly because Clutch Player of the Year really is just kind of, it's subjective. That seems more like a league thing than anything else. Like the league will decide it. And for Coach of the Year, I won't lie. I don't have a Coach of the Year. So we will start with MVP. The MVP for the NBA of 2000. I don't like the way I phrase that. The NBA MVP for 2024 is Nikola Jokic. Do you expect it to be anyone else? I'm pretty sure we all knew this was going to happen the second Joel Embiid went down with his injury, because we were like, well, Joel's the only like major guy who can really give Jokic a run for his money, so GG's there. Also saw a wild stat that guys, we're almost at the end of the season. Joel Embiid has more free throw makes than Nikola Jokic. If you've been under a rock or you don't follow basketball, Joel Embiid has been out for months. And Jokic has played almost the entire year. So that ain't going great for the whole, like, Embiid is kind of the new Harden situation for MVP voting. But, yeah, once Embiid went down, because, I mean, obviously Embiid had his massive game earlier into the season, and people were like, okay, maybe Embiid can repeat as MVP. And then he went down with injury, and we all just kind of figured, okay, because Jokic, people that don't like Jokic as the MVP are people that just get voters fatigue, because that's when I hear people complain about, oh, well, Nikola Jokic is the MVP, but why? And it's like because he's the best basketball player on the planet right now. Like there are great players and really, really fun players to watch who their names would be like they deserve to be mentioned. Like you have your Anthony Edwards, your Giannis Antetokounmpos, but it's a lot like the upcoming players. You're not your Giannis's, your Ants, your Jason Tatum's, your Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's, your Luka Doncic's. Those are the groups of players that definitely deserve to be like in the MVP ladder. So, because like if I had my MVP ladder right now, it would be Jokic is 1. My honor, so number 2 is Luka Doncic. My 3 is Shai. My 4 right now is actually Anthony Edwards because of the second half of the season, and my 5 is, did I just blank on my 5? Jason Tatum, thank you. Jason Tatum and Ant can honestly switch for me. I just think we'll talk about the Celtics later, but with how dominant the Celtics are as that overall team, that's not taking anything away from Jason Tatum, but just what Ant contributes to the Timberwolves seems to be much more valuable to the Timberwolves than what Jason provides for the Celtics. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Jason Tatum. I had him as my MVP a couple years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. And that was the year that Jokic won his first one. And then I did say Luka was my second one. Luka's just been unreal, and I think Luka will eventually get at least one MVP in his life. But honestly, I think he'll probably only get one because Luka is treated. We treat Luka. I don't know if I've already said this, but we treat Luka Doncic how we are treating. Like we treat Luka Doncic as if he's already won MVPs. Like there is already voter fatigue for Luka for an award he's never won. Like that's how good Luka is. Because people just expect him to be as great as he is, that when he is great, it's the same thing with Nikola Jokic. Like, when they're great, people just expect that. So that's like, okay, yeah. Like, the first time we saw this, it blew us out of the water. But since that's what they are consistently, people are like, well, this is just what we expect now. So I think that's why Luka is Luka's just like the small forward version of Jokic. Okay. Rookie of the Year, it's Victor Wembanyama. I don't even have an honorary. Like Chet, it's like Vic and then so many tiers and then Chet. And that's saying a lot because Chet has been good this year. It's just Wemby had a rough start. No. Wemby had a rough first month. And people were like, guys, it's going to be Chet. Chet's about to blow Wemby out of this award race. And then Wemby was like, all right, bet. I got my legs now. Like, guys, the things Wemby is doing is absolutely insane, and I'm actually going to talk about that in the next award for a quick second, but we are all in agreement that Wemby is the Rookie of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, it's Rudy Gobert. Rudy has been very, very good this year. He's been quietly great because of other people, mainly my runner-up, who is Victor Wembanyama, and so it's like one of those things where when you get it's like what I was saying with Luka and with Jokic, like you expect them to be great so consistently that when they are great, you just go, yeah, that's just who they are. So with Rudy for defense, that's just what people expect from Rudy is to be a defensive player of the year caliber player. So when he is, people are like, well, yeah, that's just Rudy. So when he's not like taking another step because there's not another step to go. But the reason I have Wemby as my runner-up, and honestly, he's not going to win. I don't think he should win, but I wouldn't hate it if he did. And here's why, okay? In his first 42 games, we're almost at the end of the season, but in his first half of the season, he had more blocks and steals than Rudy Gobert the year he won Defensive Player of the Year in 2018. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Like, you guys, Wemby is leading the league with 3.5 blocks per game. Teams are scheming to just not, like, do you guys watch Spurs? You don't. No one watches Spurs games because they're so bad. Like Wemby, the Spurs are so lucky they have Wemby on their team right now because they're so not fun to watch when he's not on the court. But anytime a team is attacking the Spurs, especially on transition, everyone is always looking over their shoulder to make sure Wemby isn't around. So when you're a rookie and teams are scheming you, it's insane. But anyways, other reasons that he is my runner-up. He's leading the league with 3.5 blocks per game. Youngest player to get a 5x5 with, steals and blocks, and then followed that game up the next game with 5 more steals. And he's also the youngest player to get a 20 and 20. And I know that rebounding isn't technically only a defensive stat, but majority of rebounds that come for centers and powerful NBA players are defensive. So he's just insane. Rudy will win it, but kind of like what I was saying with the MVP ladder. Like there are names that deserve to be mentioned here, and Wemby is the only other name. Sixth man of the year. This one is a toss-up in my head. It is between Naz Reid and Malik Monk. I don't know why I keep thinking Buddy Hield. It's between Malik Monk and Naz Reid, and I'm going to give it to Naz Reid. And this is not a sexy award, so we're just going to move on to the last one, which is most improved player, and it's going to be Tyrese Maxey. We're all pretty sure about that. If it's not Tyrese Maxey, it'll be Kobe White, but it's not going to be Kobe White, which is funny because Kobe White's having a great season, but Maxey, obviously, it really helped him out that Embiid went down with injury because he really got to show off what he had. Like, we already kind of expected Maxey to win most improved player heading into the season before Embiid even got hurt because we knew without Harden, like, Maxey was just going to take a next step. But with Embiid's injury, Maxey's been able to show us that, like, yeah, okay, he has taken that next step, and he's one of the biggest reasons, obviously, the biggest proponent as to why the Sixers are still in playoff contention, and now they get Embiid back so close to the playoffs. It's going to be really interesting to see how things work their way out. So let me know what you guys think. You guys will probably hate those because that's just how social media works. But I'm curious, instead of criticizing mine, which you're still going to do, maybe just give me yours. I'm very curious what your guys' are. And maybe just like have a discussion instead of insulting each other in the comments. But it's not going to happen. Now, I was just talking about how the Sixers are finally getting healthy because we're closer to the playoffs. So let's talk about the playoffs. When it comes to predicting the NBA playoffs and like what the finals matchup is going to be, my prediction, I'm really sorry, it's not sexy. It's Nuggets and Celtics. Yeah, I know. I know that as of recording this, the Nuggets have only 54 wins to the Celtics 61, and I know that there are teams getting healthier, and that the Nuggets are also not even as far ahead as they should be in the Western Conference. It's in my mind, it's going to be the Nuggets and the Celtics. Okay, my mic just randomly disconnected, so sorry for the awkward cut. But yeah, in my mind, the two teams are going to be the Celtics and the Nuggets. And it's so funny because like if you wanted to think about a weakness that both of these two teams have, it's really hard to find one without just being a total nitpicker. And like I know if you just look at the records and you see that the Nuggets only have 54 wins, you're like, how can a 54 wins? And it's so funny because 54 wins is actually really good, and we're not even at the end of the season yet, but 54 wins is really good. We're just so used to within the last 10 years teams winning 70 games or a lot of teams winning in the 60s, where you see 54 and you're like, oh, but how is this team supposed to be a contender? Like how the Celtics have 61 right now. And so, trying to look at weaknesses, and it's funny, the numbers on the board, I almost called them their old name, but I think they posted a video this morning about this, which I'll go watch later. But I don't know what their weaknesses are. I mean, if I had to nitpick, the Nuggets' depth obviously has shown that like they're missing some of the players that they lost last season or last offseason. But like again, they're still fine. I guess another thing, and this goes for both teams. Honestly, yeah, this kind of goes for both the Nuggets and the Celtics, but like getting to the line, both teams don't do it that much. But again, if you're winning, how consistently they are, I guess shot selection is what you could say, or like distribution of mismatches is something where you could maybe put more focus on because you want to draw more fouls. But it's really hard to find major weaknesses for either of these teams. And honestly, no one, if you're going to complain about a Nuggets and Celtics finals, then you don't like basketball. That would be so much fun. It would be a lot of fun to watch those two teams go out. There are multiple matchups in the playoffs that would be really fun, but I think the Nuggets and the Celtics is obviously at the top of that ladder. You want, as a viewer, to watch the two best teams in the league square off, and that's what that would be. So yeah, there's that. And then one thing too that I want to talk about was like, because like I said, for me, I really don't think it's like there's no dark horse for me. If anything, it's like a dark pitch black horse. Because I don't see a major threat to either of these teams. But I do think that there are some teams that can be threats to other teams in the conferences. So these are the teams for each other conference that I think could make their conference finals. So like for the West, the team that I think could be sneaky and make the Western Conference Finals right now, for me, is the New Orleans Pelicans. As long as B.I.'s injury is not too bad, like his knee injury isn't so bad and they're able to get him back for the postseason run, almost near full healthy. This second half of the season has been really good, and a lot of fans are also like, can you guys not be in our bracket for the postseason, please? Like, they match up well with almost every team besides, like, the Nuggets. Every playing team they match up well with. I'm not even going to go over that. But, like, we have seen the Suns right now. They match up well with the Suns. They match up great with the Timberwolves after, I don't want to say great because of an injury, but they match up great after Karl Anthony Towns' injury. They match up perfectly fine with the Clippers, and they match up fine with the Mavericks. And Nuggets, them, and then, playing teams. So I just think that they'd be a really, really fun team, especially with how much they were surging. Obviously, Brandon Ingram's injury is definitely something that should be focused on and, kind of kept tabs on. But I think the Pelicans making it to the Western Conference Finals is not that far-fetched of an idea. And I think that would be a really fun series to watch as well, to watch like someone as physical as Zion he won't, but try to stop Jokic and the Nuggets. That'd be a lot of fun. I think that would probably, them and the Clippers are like my two. I would love to see them in the Western Conference Finals. And then my dark horse in the Eastern Conference, it's not fun. I know it's not fun. It's the Philadelphia 76ers because Embiid's coming back. Again, I don't think that they will beat the Celtics. I could see them taking a Celtics series 2-6. Maybe I don't think I can see 7, but getting Embiid back, as long as Embiid is back to 85% of what he was pre-injury, it'll be pretty easy for them to just glide through the Eastern Conference besides the Celtics. So again, this is what I'm talking about. If we had on the Western side, we had the Pelicans and the Nuggets, and on the Eastern side, we had the Celtics and the Sixers, that would be such a fun Final Four. Now, things don't always happen how you hope or how you expect them to. So I'm very curious what's going to happen, come 2 months from now. But those are the two teams I think are kind of surging. And I know the Sixers pick isn't that sexy. And for the Western Conference, I don't know if that'll be a surprise for a lot of people. I know a lot of the NBA community is pretty high on the Pelicans right now. I don't know if a lot of them can see them surging that much. I know the one team everyone is really, really, or the two teams that everyone's really high on are obviously the Thunder because of all their young talent, but also the Clippers just because of defense for that team and how they match up well against every other team besides for like the Nuggets due to size. So there's that. Pretty much all the NBA talk there. Oh, no. Apologies to anyone just watching the podcast. This is for social medias. So Bronny James just declared for the NBA draft. No, he didn't, actually. I mean, technically he did, but he entered the transfer portal, and let's talk about it, okay? So Bronny technically, yes, he did say he was declaring for the NBA draft right after he said that he was also entering the transfer portal. Now, two things can be true with one also being a lie. He's not going to the draft. What he's doing is he is going to essentially he's getting an opportunity to talk with NBA GMs to see. He gets to just pick their minds. He gets to get advice from NBA GMs on what he can do to improve his draft stock next year. He was averaging 3.5 points per game this year, and he didn't even play every single game. He's not going to enter the NBA draft. He is smarter than that. This is honestly a very smart thing that most people are recognizing and picking up on, is the fact that he's not actually trying to get drafted right now. He's just trying to get feedback from NBA GMs on what he should do in the next year for his college season to see what he can do to get his stock up. And I think I respect Bronny a lot for this because, let's be real, if he entered the NBA draft, he would be drafted in the second round for sure because a team wants the opportunity to have LeBron James on their team because LeBron wants to play with Bronny. And Bronny could easily do that. Bronny could say, yep, I'm declaring for the draft. But Bronny actually wants to iron out his game, and he wants to deserve to be drafted wherever he gets drafted next year. And I respect that a lot. I do think he will leave USC. I don't know where. I don't know enough about college hoops to tell you guys. I don't know jack from shit when it comes to college hoops. But it will be. I was kind of surprised he was leaving USC, mainly just because he did really well with NIL deals. And also it's just USC is in Los Angeles and it's just a big market. So unless he's going to stay, and he's from LA, Was he born in LA? He's lived here for so long. He's not from LA, but he's lived here for so long that, I mean, it would just kind of make sense for him to stay in Los Angeles. I mean, unless he's going to like UCLA. I'm very curious where he's going to be going to transfer. I mean, like maybe he wants to go somewhere like a Duke or a UConn or Kentucky or like rejuvenate Kansas or something like that, like one of those historic franchises. I'm very curious what he's going to do. But no, he's not going to get drafted. Relax. And then lastly, this deserves to get to. I almost led with this, but I don't know why I didn't, honestly. A lot of people on Twitter are getting, it seems like they're getting sick of it, which I don't understand. It's so fucking stupid that people are sick of talking about this. I think it's awesome. But Caitlin Clark has officially taken over the world. Let's be real. It's not just the WNBA world. It's the basketball world. Caitlin Clark alone, with a little bit of like just the bracket this year for March Madness, but she has done so much for the sport of women's basketball. And I always thought it was such a stupid joke to always just make fun of the WNBA. It's such an easy joke to make, such an easy way to punch down. And Caitlin Clark is showing that it's legit. And like Ice Cube offered her a big 3 contract. And I think that would be so much fun. I mean, again, I'm not going to sit here and try to make predictions of what she could do. She could be any of you motherfuckers that are commenting on her Twitter, her Instagram, or talking shit about her. She will drop you so fucking fast while also dropping 21 on your ass and not allowing you to score a point. You are just fucking so insecure about yourselves that you can't deal with the fact that a girl could kick your ass because you're fucking pathetic. That's the reality of the situation. Let's be real. Don't know if that's going to make socials. We'll see how I'm feeling about that. But she has done so much for the sport of women's basketball, and I have so much respect for that, because when people are tweeting about these games as if they're NBA games, that's how you know you've made it. When people are making like not just like memes within the community, but like very well-known memes. Like there are memes that are so niche because of the communities that they come from. And then there are memes that everyone knows where that's from and everyone knows how to use it and everyone knows the context. And that is what the WNBA bracket has done this year. Like I would argue more people care about the WNBA bracket than the men's bracket this year. And I don't think that's an overreaction. I mean, the semifinals game between Iowa and that person's car, sidetrack, that person's car alarm goes off at least 3 times a day. Either someone is really unsuccessfully breaking into your car or you don't know how to use your car. It's really annoying. I was filming an audition yesterday and that car alarm went off twice during that. It was so annoying. But no, during the semifinals game that I was playing in, like, it had 14 million viewers, which was more than so many other games that have been broadcast on basketball games that have been broadcast on ESPN the last couple of years. So I think it's awesome. I also think it's so stupid. Like, she's getting so much respect from NBA players, WNBA players, like people that look up to her. Other sport league, like other professional athletes and other leagues are giving her so much respect. And then there's this stupid just like pettiness between other WNBA players. Like I don't get it. The WNBA has been shit on for so long, and so I would feel like if I was a part of that league and all of a sudden, you know, there was really this audience ramp up and people were getting excited to, you know, pay attention to something that I was a part of, that would be awesome to me, and I would want to support that as much as possible. But to see people like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi like punching down at Caitlin Clark and diminishing everything and just saying like, oh, it's gonna be a rude awakening for her whenever she gets to the league. Like you should be, and this is something that I really hate about the NBA culture as well, is like rather than supporting the younger generation, they just want to shit on them. And I don't like that they're doing this to Caitlin Clark either. I don't like they're doing it to Caitlin Clark. And like, it's not fair. You know, someone is really propelling your platform to somewhere it's never been before. And rather than be excited about that, you're going to shit on it. Like North Carolina won today and their head coach literally praised Caitlin Clark. I think that's awesome that she did that, because not only are you praising someone that you were just going against, but you're also you're kind of letting the elephant, you're addressing the elephant in the room here, which is like, yeah, that that woman, that was fucked up. Why did I say that? That woman over there has done so much for not just the sport, but every single lady on the court, every single person that wants to go play professional basketball in a women's league. She has done so much for that, and I think that's awesome. And yeah, I really am excited to like see what's gonna come next. I'm really curious what's gonna happen next year because obviously Caitlin Clark's gonna get drafted, and Angel Reese is also gonna get drafted, and so they're going to the WNBA. Their ratings are obviously gonna skyrocket. Whether it's for 1, 2, 3 years or just it keeps going up, that's to be seen. But I'm very curious what's going to happen to the women's bracket next year. I wonder if there's going to be like, because like we kind of got this with Sabrina last year, where like okay, people were really starting to pay attention to her, and then like she got to the 3-point contest with Steph, and so like it's there's this slow ramp up. So I'm very curious if that's going to happen next year as well. Only 25 minutes, really? It feels like I've been talking forever, man. It was fun to talk about basketball for a little bit, and. I mean, sorry for the break, but we also did kind of need it a little bit. Can't talk so much for Zach, but I definitely needed it. Since I also edit the TikToks and everything, like, you know, just I was having to drive a lot this last couple of weeks, and I probably just would not have had time to do it. And I just needed the weekends for myself to relax, and that's why. And also, it's not like we are getting a certain amount of money from the podcast where like we depend on it, you know? So it's okay if we take a couple of weeks off. And also I'd rather give you guys real content than bullshit. So TikTok's obviously coming back this week, or just socials are coming back this week. I need to get so much better at uploading these as podcasts. I don't think I've uploaded like the last 10 to the audio platforms, so I need to get better at that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys made it this far, I really appreciate it. I'm very curious your guys' thoughts on everything, whether it's the NBA awards I was talking about, the NBA playoffs, the whole Bryant situation, or the WNBA and Caitlin Clark surge. I'm very curious your guys' thoughts. But I'm going to go put this together and go make some dinner. And I'm going to bed because I'm really freaking tired. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.